Hello, y'all. Hello, y'all. Bella Waldorf here. Bella Waldorf. Welcome to 10 Toes About It, where we here and we stay 10 toes about it, period. Alright. If y'all are feeling my shirt, it is from Shein. It's a crop top. I'm not going to stand up because... Anyway, I'm coming at y'all today with another story time. Now, today's video is more of it's a story time mixed with a little bit of what I would have did better. You know, I mean, yeah, what I would have done better, the things I learned, and what you can possibly take from it, right? Okay. As you can see by the title, we got a little... I don't think this is necessarily spicy because it happened so late in my life. But anyway, so losing my virginity. I was 18 years old. I hadn't graduated high school yet because this happened May 1st, 2011. And the only reason that I remember the dates, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. So the only reason I remember the exact date, time, where it happened was because you know how every year Facebook does the memories, like, oh, on this day 10 years ago you said this, and it'd be some cringy, oh, why did I say that type of thing. It was one of those. I didn't put too much information, but when I see it, I will never forget. The status said that was it. Gang. So anyway, so let me take you back 2011. I'm gonna set a so last weekend in April 2011, my homegirl from high school, I'm gonna call her Island because she was from the island, my island girl. So we're still cool to this day. So Island and I were in high school together, and you know, we was close and stuff, and she lived in a part of New York I've never been to at the time. So New York State, New York City. Maybe we took the Metro North, I don't know, maybe we didn't. So we was in high school together, and this was the first time I ever been to her house. So we at the time we were playing rugby. We was on a rugby team. I was on a rugby team in high school, y'all. My last year of high school, I was on a rugby team. I was playing, I was running, I'll tell y'all more about that later. But she and I was on the rugby team together. We was cool. And this one random weekend we had a game. I think our team lost, and she was like, oh, her best friend came to the game, and they was like, oh, you know, what you doing for the weekend? You know, I was like, oh, I'm not doing nothing. You know, I didn't have no plans. My mom wasn't that type of mom, like, oh, you know, I'm coming back there. She'd be like, girl, what? Get now. So, which is surprisingly, she let me do this, even at 18 years old, mind you. She was like, oh, my friend was like, oh, you trying to come over for the weekend to like spend the night? I was like, all right, cool. I ain't never been to, you know, out there, so let's go. So I went home. I told my mom everything, whatever, and then we was out. And being that it was so close to, being that this place was part of what I'm used to, it was like another world. It was like another world. It was another world. It was crazy. It was crazy. It's an interesting place. It's a very interesting little place. So we got out there, and I met her sister and the family, whatever, and it was so much fun. It was my first weekend actually getting drunk. We got lit, we got turned up, we was having a good time. partaking in 18-year-old and on activities. If you know, you know, and if you don't, live a little. So we were, you know, turning up, having fun. Her man was there. He was playing music, and we was dancing. Turned up, having a good old time, right? And her cousin was there, and he was cool. Like, everybody was vibing, and we was having a good old time. And we had this other friend from high school. We was on Ubu. We was on Ubu, like, with him, and doing the, not FaceTime, the Ubu. And, you know, having a good time, whatever. That was like Friday night. Saturday, we woke up, we was recovering, went to eat, chilled out. Saturday night was turn up time again. But Saturday night, my friends and her cousin and everybody was there again, but my friend's sister, her man was there. And it was like an extra party, so we was like, extra turned up, right? Extra. And then, so at the end of the night, everybody is calming down. You know, my friend's sister's boyfriend lived in the area, so he was home. I think she went with him too, I don't know. But we was turning down and coming down from the party. And, you know, I was sleeping in the living room, and then her cousin, who I did not know, her cousin came, and, you know, we were talking a little bit, and and all that stuff. Nothing happened. I went home the next day. Okay. The following weekend, so technically that was the second to last weekend in April. The last weekend in April, I went back to Carajolan. We went back over there. We're turning up, and I knew what to expect, so I got like extra turned ups because I knew what to expect. We was gonna stay in the house for the rest of the weekend and turning up, and like it was like a little extra, but not too extra to the point where I don't remember nothing. Or maybe because that was my first time getting drunk, my body was a little more ahead of its time. Now I cannot tell you the last time I was drunk. Not that I don't drink, I don't do it often. I prefer other things, not crazy things, other things, in case you were wondering. So, you know, we was turned up and having a good old time and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and, you know, just shimmy back and forth. It was mad fun. We was having a good old time, right? So me and her cousin was talking a little bit throughout the week. So then, you know, that weekend, you know, it happened, you know. And let me say this, I was not expecting the fireworks. I wasn't expecting the, oh my God. I don't know what I was expecting, because I think because I waited so late, like a lot of people around me was doing it. And to be honest, like in school, when I started hearing about people doing that when I was like 14, and I used to think, I was like, you do that? Girl. And I went to an all-girls school too, so it was like, what? And I, girl, all the stories they used to tell me, I used to be blushing like, oh my. And it just, at that time, I wasn't interested in that. I had a boyfriend. At 14, I got my first hickey. Like, I was real late, you know, like, I got my first kiss at like 13, you know, like, and I wasn't interested in, you know, some people think because I went to an all-girls school that may have something to do with it, and it might. I personally don't think so, but it could be one of those things I don't. When I was 15, quick backstory, when I was 15 in the 8th grade, this girl was pregnant, and my birthday's in January, so I was always older than everybody else. So she was like 14, I just turned 15, and she was pregnant. I was like, I seen 16 and pregnant. I wasn't completely ignorant to the world, but it was just like, what? Anyway, so fast forward to being 18. I wasn't expecting the fireworks. I wasn't, like I said, I don't know what I was expecting, because I don't know. like, oh my God, it didn't hurt. It didn't feel good. It wasn't anything. It was nothing. It was really nothing. Like, it was just like, it was in there and then it wasn't. And then it was and then it wasn't. I don't even think he finished. I think it was one of those things that he just got up and was like, all right. So I was like, all right, good night. He went into the back room and I turned up and went to sleep. And then I remember that morning, me and my friend, I think he left already. My friend, her best friend, we was in the kitchen talking, and I was like, guys, like, we did it. And they was like, oh my God. We was talking about it. And then I will never forget, I was on Facebook and I was like, that was it. And then I had showed them. They was like, girl, oh my God. Girl, come to find out, this man, I was 18. This boy wasn't. He was 17. And then we're not even the same age, so so then 2 weeks later, I get an inbox on Facebook. He hit me up on Facebook and was like, oh, so I heard that was your first time. And I was like, girl, why y'all talking about that? And then I was like, yeah, it was. And he was like, oh, you must love my dick. I was like, now let me just put this out there. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 18. I have been scratching DJs since I was 14. So please, 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 please trust and believe it. Please, please. I knew where the big O was by that time, and I did not get that. So, in love where? With what? What? Girl, I have known what to do with my body for a very long time. In love with what? Boy. But I will say this. It was one of those things where you try something, it wasn't what you expected, so you overindulge in it. And then it's still not what you expect, and then you continue to indulge in it, and then you have it one time that's what you expected, and it's like, what? Which led me to my period of hot panties. Girl, hot panties. Them panties did not stay on. They didn't stay on. And I'm not even gonna lie, because we 10 toes about it. But, it. I don't like calling it a whole era, because it's like, I like calling it hot panties. I think it sounds cuter. It don't sound no better, but I think it sounds cuter. But, so that's the end of that story. But I say this to say, like, to me, in my personal opinion, and I really don't, I hope that no one takes offense or gets riled up and wants to tussle, because I don't do that. I'll call the police on you. I feel like virginity might not be the whole, like, the Disney Channel after school special, like, oh, you should save it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but how they, anyway, it led me into a period of, very hot panties, and that's a whole nother video, girl, because I had hot panties for like 5 years. Now, I'm not saying I have 5 years racked up my bodies. They stayed on sometimes. Easy, y'all, easy. But, I have some experiences. I have some stories. Now, I feel like what I can say to my younger girls, if I have anybody younger watching me, or who is like, thinking about losing their virginity or is thinking about sex, period, don't do it if you don't fully get it. And I know that's very vague, it's very general, but I feel like something that people are not understanding is that sex is not just a this and a this, doing this and that. That's not all sex is. You know, sex is emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. It is. And, you know, soul ties are real, man. Soul ties are very real. And I feel like, you know, us as women, especially us as women of this society, of this day and age, we need to be careful who we making soul ties with, because that's not an everybody type of thing, girl. It's not. And let me tell y'all about a quick little interaction I had with this guy that I was talking to. We had just met, was talking back and forth, getting to know each other, the usual questions, how are you, how old are you, this and that. And you know, we was talking whatever. And then we had got to the point where I low key hate getting to with men when we talk about sex, because it's really a turn off. And I was just like, oh, like I've been single and celibate for going on 3 years. And he was just like, oh, wow, why? And I told him why. And I'm just like, because for me, it's a soul tie, it's emotional. And I don't want to do that with everybody, which is generally what I told him. And he hit me with the, oh, yeah, no, I get it. And that was the last I heard from him. That was the last I heard from that man. Which, on one hand, is a little hurtful, because it's like, damn, like we can't even have a conversation without the prospect of, and it's not even the fact that I said I'm not doing it at all, never. I'm just like, I need commitment. That's what I need. That's just what I need. And it's like, don't expect that from me, ho. And it's like, okay, you know, and we can't be friends. We can't get to that point. We have to be having sex. And on the other hand, it was like a weeding out the weak type of thing, you know, like, you know, obviously it's too expensive in a more metaphorical sense. It's too expensive, meaning, you know, they can't afford it. And it is what it is. Like, and I'm not saying like money, but I cost loyalty, I cost commitment, I cost respect, I cost love. And a lot of these men are broke in the metaphorical sense, and in the literal, but that's none of my business. But, and I feel like, you know, we gotta start holding our little hot, little warm cookies to a higher standard, y'all. Like, these men don't be deserving it. And yes, you know, we gotta get our rocks off. We need ours. We need to get ours. Learn, girl. Learn. It don't get no better than this. I'm lying. Nothing replaces the feeling, the intimacy of a man, and I get that, which is why I've been withholding that to myself. But mentally, health-wise, girl, it's okay. It's okay this is okay. You know, and no judgment, absolutely no judgment. You know, do your thing, but like, just consider taking a break. Take a mental break, because I promise you, it's gonna mentally be worth it. And you know, it does suck sometimes, because it's like you be very lonely sometimes, and not lonely, but like, you know, I want a little boo, but I want something serious, and they don't, and it's just like, oh, whatever. I think I'm rambling, but you know what I mean. But anyway, it was a random little video, but let me know what y'all think. Comment, like, subscribe, share, start, play, rewind, fast forward. Follow me on Instagram, TenToesBoutit, TenToesBoutit. I'll link it in the description, because that was a lot. And my top is from Shein again, by the way. This is also from Shein, and that's all I have on.